Okay, and we're back with episode, I believe it's going to be number 5, but episode number 5 of Rev'd Up GarageCast. We're still here with TJ. We planned on one episode, but we just had so much to talk about. You should have actually heard the conversation in between episodes. We got all revved up. But we got
I got revved up.
we got Mark still here. We got Eddie. Mark's head got even a little bit bigger since last episode, and our main man TJ right now. Okay, so last episode we touched about the team show and the format. Very, very loosely talk about the word format. We talked about the round robin style play that he's bringing into it. So TJ, give us a quick, brief summary.
We can always just call it like the floor mat, like hashtag floor mat if we want to. So our floor mat's going to be, basically we're going to do is go 4-car teams this year, $12,000 to win, which is going to be $3,000 per person. We're going to do, we're going to take 16 teams this year, and these 16 teams are going to be given the opportunity to be drafted into what we call our group stage. So each group will have 4 teams. You'll do a round robin with your group, and the top 2 teams from each group will go to the feature, and everybody else will go to the B main. The cool thing about this 4-car team floor mat, is going to be that you are only allowed to use 3 of your cars at one time. So you're going to get 3 cars to start, and then the second round unleashes what we call the Joker, which is going to be the car that already has fresh, all of its fix-it plates and all of its wire. You will have to decide when to use the Joker, how to use the Joker. It's going to be kind of interesting. We talked about earlier in the last episode about how it could be some gamesmanship with that. So we're just going to open it up to a full-blown, just you never know what's going to happen kind of thing, just like Deadman always tries to bring.
Okay. So that was a quick, brief summary. There's something new also on the agenda for No Mercy, something that almost is what me and Mark were a part of in the past. We acquired these nice belts from Deadman.
I like his belts a lot.
Tripod Squad. We took down a few of our nemesises.
Had to smash the
we'll
soggy bottom boys. Is that what you're saying?
They're the worst. We beat them a few times.
Oh, my.
Maybe they'll come back.
They whooped our ass a couple times in
Oh,
a Hyundai one time.
That Hyundai, that thing was cheated. Anyways, what's new other than the floor mat of the team show? What else is new at No Mercy?
So what we're going to do is going to bring back one of my favorites, something that this was my first idea that I ever had as a promoter. And I saved it because I said, I thought of this before we started the Rumble. So this was my first one. I drew it on paper, and I waited until 4 other people brought this idea to me and just giggled every time. The Tag Team Championships at Deadman. So we did this, of course, at Day of the Dead. I think if without the rain, I think it really could have got interesting.
It was kicking off to a really good start.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a beautiful day, and then all of a sudden, just monsoon.
It was just interesting to see the different strategies. So basically what we do is we make 2 end zones, which are safe zones. We bring 10 teams out, 2-car teams, and in order to tag your other teammate in, you either have to make physical contact with the car or your hand, so high-fiving or whatever. We saw some different strategies. I'd love to hear what your guys, because I don't think anybody really got to hear that interview. We wanted to know what your strategy was as a public, and try to give people out there that may not know what the tag team was all about, like what it's like being in the car or what you guys were going through.
So I know Mark and I, we had a strategy to the point we wanted to switch to give each other a break a little bit, but at the same time, we didn't want to beat both of our cars down to when we needed them most. So I believe we only tagged, 3 times?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Mark ran for a majority of the time. We tagged once. I ran for a little bit before anything major happened to my car. Tagged back in and let Mark finish his off.
Yeah, I mean, I think our idea was just who was the better driver. We wanted to leave them to finish up the end.
How long was that argument?
I mean, it is what it is, man.
I didn't even know that. So, I mean, he just knew it from the beginning as a better driver.
I mean, I ain't scared to give it one.
Well, we saw Terry Abadi's team do a little bit different of a strategy.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
just let one car stay out the entire time until that car was spent.
But that maximizes the ability of your car and not the driver, in my opinion. So,
right.
Yes, that's going to give your car the longest run time that they technically you would think could have.
Right.
But our idea was to, as long as we kept him cool. Now, if he went in and he blew his rad right away, we were going to run till he done. And then I go in and I have to try and take care of it. Now he kept his coolant system. That's when we decided to swap.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it brings a different element into just, again, it's one of those things that you're sitting here talking about strategy. Instead of, everybody said, Mike Tyson used to say everybody has a plan until you get smacked in the mouth. You and I might have a different strategy, Eddie, going into it than they do. And we might be like, well, I think we tag every minute and a half. You have that internal clock. I want to shut my car off, let it cool down, or whatever you want to do. Maybe some of these cars run cooler with the fans rolling, so maybe you leave them started.
That's funny how you say everyone has a plan until you get smacked in the mouth. We came this close to abandoning the plan. The first time that I got tagged in, I went and I made a shot with the back of my wagon, and I went up on the front end of theirs, and someone came and plucked my front end. And I thought for sure, I was like, man, they just destroyed the front end of my car.
Right.
Somehow I pulled away, and it was perfect still.
Yeah, so. I mean, when it came down to the end, like the last three teams, us, a Body's team, and Merriman's, out of those three, a Body and the Merriman's ran the same thing. Like Jeremy stayed out there. It seemed like the whole time, I feel like we were the only ones that tagged in and out.
Yeah, and I mean, we had discussed it. We were very close to different strategies. We thought about tagging the most because when you tagged, it sort of reset your 60-second clock. Yeah. So we're like, at the same time, we're going to have less abuse on our cars if we're tagging because the transition stage. Mm-hmm. So we thought about playing that little bit of time that you could get there to your advantage, but we ended up going against it.
Sure, and there's a little bit of gamesmanship there too, because how long does the tag take? Because remember, you're in the safe zone. Right. And we never covered that. And when I got on the radio and I seen, there was one time where, I don't know if it was your team or another team, that car wouldn't start and the other guy had to go back in. So they pulled off, and I'm like, okay, here comes the tag. They tagged, and I'm like, all right, you need to go in. And he did go in, and I looked at him. He's hitting the wires. He's hitting the button, and he looked. I think it was a good 15, 20 seconds. Yeah, that wasn't. And then all of a sudden, the other guy just was like, okay, I'm going back in. So he went back in, and I'm like, okay, that's something that we need to address further, because how long does a tag take? Because
I believe the tag counted as a hit, right?
It counted as a hit. It counted as a 60-second hit. So it was a free clock reset.
Yeah, that's what was running through my mind too. Mike, I don't know if you ever thought about it or thought of fixing it. I mean, what stops a car from tagging, driving out there for 45 seconds and just making their legal hit back on their guy?
Competition.
The competition does. Yeah. And this is what I've always said about people that complain about sandbaggers. Do something about it.
Go after them. Yeah.
What you're telling me is this guy is sitting in the corner doing nothing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know where he's at. Okay, He's not moving. He's an easier target. Go hit him.
Yeah.
The problem is that what you really don't want to admit is that you politic with that guy in the back.
Right.
You were working with him, and he got away with it a little bit more than you did.
He beat you at the end.
And he beat you at the end because he had more car left. That's all it is.
So moving forward to No Mercy, you're bringing this event to Fayette again. I really like from New Alex, we had talked about the size of the track. I think the tag team event is going to work better at Fayette with a full track, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I think the track's going to give us a little bit of a. I mean, obviously New Alex was awesome for that because it's a great track and it's a great facility. But I think this track presents more of a ring, if you will, like more of in my head what I'm looking at as a ring. Gives you a little bit more space. But the thing we haven't mentioned is that what we're doing now is we already have established our compact champions.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Just like in wrestling, you have your women's tag team champions.
Heavyweight.
I had to make sure I got that on camera. You got your heavyweight. You got your compact champions. You have different divisions. I can't remember right now. I don't know why I can't. But the luchadors, whatever they're called. But you have those champions. You have your intercontinental champion. You have your heavyweight champions. So now we have our compact champions. We need full size champions. So we're gonna take our new bone stock rules, which is a simple motor swap. No slider, just a simple motor swap class.
Now that's 70s cars as well, correct?
Yeah, 70s cars. I always add 70s cars. And I will take an 03 up against any 70s car that is made. Maybe hashtag Cadillac, maybe not. But I don't necessarily want any part of that. But I don't see any reason why you can't include them. Okay. And I want to be known as, remember when, I know when I first went to Bash for Cash in 2017, I was blown away by how many old iron were there. Mm-hmm. I was like, I've never seen this many wagons in one spot. Never seen this many Cadillacs in one spot. It blew my mind. Everybody had seen the 80s and newer stuff. Mm-hmm. It almost had gotten boring at that point in time. And I look and I'm like, wow, That's insane. And then you get this awesome conversations like, oh, is that an Olds 98? Actually, no, that's a, this car, because there's some of those that look interesting. And then you're reclipping cars and you get these different kind of cars. Like last year I ran an Olds, 2 years ago I ran an Olds 98 with a Ford clip on the front of it. Everybody's like, what is that thing? I just like having different cars out there. Aesthetically, it's more pleasing for me as a fan of the sport to see old iron in there with it. And I'd love to see somebody blow away a wagon in a bone stock class.
Definitely way better for the crowd too, but yeah. So you're gonna have the 2-man tag team bone stock.
I have one more awesome surprise for Rev'd Up if you guys want it.
I mean, we're always looking for something to get revved up about.
Yeah, exactly. So so everybody always asks me about the Mercenary. What's going to be the Mercenary? I am not lying. That hearse is gone. That hearse is completely gone. It is right now laying open, and I mean we split the roof completely in half, laid it completely open, and it is flat. I can send pictures to people who don't believe it. That car is junk. I built that car to be so strong in the front end and so strong in the rear end that it would belly completely out, and it did. It broke everything in that car, and it was awesome to see it last 2 years, but I don't want people to think they can't beat it. There will be another Mercenary car, but the cool part is where we're going to put it. This year's Mercenary car, and this is an announcement for everybody, this is the first time you guys are hearing this year's Mercenary car will be in the 2-man heat.
Oh.
And yes, there will be 2 Mercenary drivers.
Okay.
So it's a little different.
I like it.
Now, the crazy thing is are they going to be in one car, or are there going to be 2 cars?
I think there's going to be 2 cars.
There could be 2 cars. There could be 2 really crazy drivers in one car.
Maybe.
I guess time will tell.
Yeah.
See, I normally stay out of them heats.
Is that because of what happened at Day of the Dead's van slaughter?
Yeah. I got abused in that.
Hey, that's a good shirt right there, van slaughter.
Yeah.
It's not murder, it's van slaughter.
It's not murder, it's manslaughter. I have a picture of the back of my Disney van.
It's always got to be Steven's van. It can't be like Patrick Uphol's van or somebody like that.
I've seen that before.
Easy. When's the last time I've been on one of your shirts?
Every time I put somebody on my shirt, all of a sudden I'm friends with them and I give them extra fix-it plates.
I've never been on a shirt, but I have a lot of stuff here for Dead Man showing it off.
I wouldn't put you on a shirt. You can't fit all that forehead on one shirt.
Yeah.
It's a 5-head.
Get to the next subject.
Okay. So, anyways, we talked about obviously the bone stock full-size tag team. One thing we haven't reached about is once you become a champion, you have to do what?
You have to defend these
Get
things,
beat.
man.
You have to get beat?
Well, you have to beat them or get beat, one or the other. I mean,
I don't want to get beat.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
I mean,
So, we're going to talk about defending these titles.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that I would love to see these titles be a little bit more of a rotating thing. If this takes off, I would like to see them defended twice a year, but right now I think it's appropriate to have them defended once a year. I'd really like to see you guys be completely arrogant about it and walk around with these belts at Day of the Dead. I'd love to see somebody.
Day of the Dead? I'm wearing this to No Mercy.
yeah.
I'd be wearing it everywhere, you know what I mean?
I do. Melanie gets so mad.
Oh my! Just hopefully it's just one of the team members there for that. But anyway, what I'd really like to see is like you bring in, 9 new teams to come try to take these belts from you guys, and I'd like to see a competitive balance. I know I've had a lot of teams after that.
Now you want 9 new teams? Because I still want another crack at the Soggy Bottom boys.
No, I'm just saying. Well, I just don't know if they're cut out for it. I mean,
they
we
might
haven't heard
already
anything from them since then. I mean, they kind of went into hiding. It's like I don't know if they're trying to go all dramatic for the WWE effect or whatnot, but we just haven't heard anything from the Merrimans.
Hiding or building? I mean,
ooh,
already out.
Yeah, I mean maybe they might already have their cards done.
They might be ready to go. I mean, you never know.
When a
who's
challenge
preparing.
presents itself, you have to be ready.
I mean, is this a challenge? Is this what you're saying?
Out again?
I mean, I would 100% like to see the Soggy Bottom boys get taken down one more time.
Maybe even I'll find
Just
a
to make
teammate
sure-
come junkie.
Just to make, don't worry about
You
it.
ain't cut out for
Just
that.
just to make sure, I want to know in my heart that it wasn't a fluke that we took down the Soggy Bottom boys.
Yeah, because they got a little extra soggy bottoms with all that rain. You know what I mean? Like it kind of drug them down.
I feel like they actually might have had a hand in that. I don't know how, but they might have
They're
talked to you.
very unique characters.
They might have talked to you and had the scheduling somehow down pat. That we ended up with soggy bottoms as well.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how it happened. 100% chance of no rain, and we ended up getting an F1 tornado come through.
I'm telling you, there's something happened there.
There were some rain dances going on or something.
I have never been that wet. I'm thankful that it was warm out.
No.
It was interesting.
If it was a cold derby, I probably would have been like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Using spare parts that had fallen off of cars to cover headers real quick. And
I think I found a McDonald's cup or a red Solo cup. Someone handed me out of the stands.
It was interesting for sure. A full blown tornado right in the middle of it. But I'd love to see these belts have like pride in them. I'd love to see people like you guys. I want you to like these to mean something to you. Like I want you to want to stay strapped. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
And then I want people to want to take them off your shoulder. Like I want you guys to be the bad guys eventually. And nobody likes to see people win all the time. People, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon, they all became hated at one point in time by at least half the crowd because nobody likes to see somebody win all the time. So you go out and you defend these. Then me and Eddie be like, hey, we got to get these things off these guys' shoulders. Like.
Yeah, I mean,
I welcome that challenge.
What happens if? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if we win it twice in a row, like, do you throw something extra at the guys that won that again?
I mean, I might have to throw a bonus in there, but
yeah.
maybe throw a bonus in there and get you guys, a couple extra bucks or something like that, to support all the parties you're going to have to be doing because you're famous.
Well, I mean, transferring us from Derby World from wrestling, these belts, if we win again, do we just get a copy? Do we just get something for a wall hanger? But these are the originals. I mean,
so you're gonna have your belts, and then I'm gonna give you the new belts to wear around to the show. So I want you to be able to keep these, and I'm gonna have the 2 new belts. We will present them to you guys at the show to say that these are your 2 new belts, your 2 championships belts. But I don't want these being left on the back of a car and then somebody walking off with them. These are for you guys to keep. But we'll be presenting you guys with the new belts to walk around with that day, and you guys are the champ, and then you will have to actually give them to the soggy bottom boys.
We're just going
you're gonna have to hand them over, which is kind of cool because nobody wants to hand over a possession that's important to them, right?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that could be cool.
Right.
So I think that we should actually pencil it in. I mean, nothing's set in stone in life, but I think we should, at Day of the Dead, beat the competition.
Well, here's the deal. I'm the Vince McMahon of all this, or the Triple H now, I guess if you want to call it. If you're not there to defend your titles, you drop them.
Lose them.
Oof.
So that's what it is. I mean, if we got to do an interim champ, we got to do an interim champ, whatever we got to do. But these titles will be defended at Day of the Dead 2, or they will be put up for grabs at Day of the Dead 2. I mean, with great accomplishment sometimes comes great responsibility. So you got to be there to get it done. And we know Mark's probably going to be in that Reaper heat, so his head's going to be somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Actually,
he might actually get an invite.
In my head, I'm sitting here thinking that hopefully there's no fishing going on.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
he's been fishing for a Reaper for a couple of years now, so.
I should have one.
He gave up on it.
He still has to learn how to drive like one.
Yeah.
I try.
He still hasn't
Hellraiser,
got
yeah. Hammer, maybe. Mad Dog, kinda. Reaper,
Yeah.
See, the thing is, to earn them Hellraisers, you went after weaker competition.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he did.
In that feature, there wasn't weaker competition. That's why you just weren't cut out for it.
Whew. I've been in a heat where I've seen you go, and I'm like, what is that? That's
Well, you were in the heat, and he got Hellraiser.
Yeah, I was in that heat, and I was like, because I knew you were kind of still a little like salty about not getting that Reaper.
Yeah.
I kept asking Steven, I'm like, am I safe?
He wanted.
Like, am I all right?
The worst
Look,
part is, like, he wanted to drive through the back of. You had a wagon of all cars. He's like, I'm going for Hellraiser. He's like, I could drive through the back of TJ's wagon. I'm like, no, just leave it be for now.
I did. There was a lot of opportunities I could have.
I'm like, if it gets down to the money, like, go ahead.
I'm big on reading people, and I talked to Steven, and I'm like, so are we good, or like what's going on? And he kind of told me that story, and then I remember like walking up to you over close to my car. I was like, so what's going on? How's things gonna go down tonight? And I'm basically like waiting for you to go like, you and I are good. And you never said it. And I'm like,
well, I walked over to Steven after that, and I think I kind of left him.
I think he wanted to have that mental game with you, like where you were like,
I'm like over here trying to get a couple of unified points, and I'm like, I'm getting down in it, and half of my time I'm spending watching you go one end to the other, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's going to be me any second. I'm trying to bag
So
and trying to
your
stay
mental
loose.
game worked.
Oh yeah, you're in my
Yeah,
head that
yeah.
night for sure.
That's good. No, I
Rent-free.
never had plans on driving 3.
Okay, well, we are apparently defending our belts at Day of the Dead. How do you feel about that, Mark?
Bring them on.
Bring them on.
Is there any case scenario where we could see you guys try to go after, like right now in wrestling, we have Roman Reigns is the Universal and SmackDown Series champion. He carries 2 belts. We have the Usos are the Raw and SmackDown double champs. Is there any possibility that we could see Steven Sickles and Mark Metz go bone stock at No Mercy and be Mark 2 belts and Sickle 2 belts?
I don't see it happening with us with the team show being that many heats.
Right.
But in future planning and preparation, you said that you want to see this become a bicentennial thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it happens in another event that we're not running a team show,
And that's kind of why I did it at No Mercy instead of Day of the Dead, so that we could kind of start getting that to stagger a little bit. So we could see like maybe the compact belts get defended at, say, like No Mercy and Buried Alive, and then, the full-size belts get...
now I know I'm cut out to attempt that, but I saw Mark run a bone stock car this year.
It wasn't that bad.
I'm sorry, I've seen him build a lot of cars. I just thought they were all bone stock.
Wait, you seen him build cars?
I mean, no,
That's-
I personally
lot of
haven't
cars.
seen that, with my own eyes.
He builds like 3 or 4
Eddie
wire
Eddie
cars.
built his first good car this year.
Yeah, but how many times I saved you this year and got you to the track?
You helped me a good bit this year.
Ooh,
There you
I don't
go.
think any of us could ever be on the track by ourselves. I mean, I know there's a couple guys out there that get it
Absolutely
done,
not.
but they only run 1 or 2 derbies a year. The guys that are like us that run 6, 7 shows a year, we don't do it by ourselves. Anybody that says they do, they're lying.
Right.
You
I
gotta
mean,
have help.
Yeah, I mean, I build some of these cars in like 3 days, and it shows you can see it. But I build these cars in 3 days. It's my dad's there 24/7.
Right.
I have a couple friends that pop in 6-hour shifts and just go to town.
We're pretty fortunate. We have
Yeah.
a good crew.
Well, that's why you're a good
Sometimes.
team. That's why you're tag champs.
That's right.
It's okay that Stone Cold carries Hornswoggle every once in a while.
Don't matter how you get there. Don't matter how you get there. As long as you get there.
Anyways, we're going to wrap up episode 2 of TJ. This should be episode 5 of All Rev'd Up GarageCast. Anything else that wants to be said before it's done?
Now, guys, I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. We hope to see Rev'd Up good all over the place. Make sure you guys do, like you said, go to social media, like and subscribe to anything that they got going on. Support these guys. They're trying to do anything to progress the sport and have a little bit of fun out there, give you guys some entertainment, whether you're on the john, whether you're at work and not do anything, or whether you're just in the garage, just have something to listen to that make sure you just get all revved up.
Okay, and by the time this is released, we're already on Facebook, and that is under Rev'd Up GarageCast. We will be under multiple podcast listings. I have all that displayed on our site, and we will be under YouTube. Those would be released through Sickles Racing YouTube channel. So make sure you like and follow. Thanks.